Hi everyone. This video is to help you understand how to do your climate change topic project. What you're going to be doing is becoming an expert in one of 8 topics, and you're going to build a presentation about that. So what you're going to be doing is using a document like this one. So here's the assignment. You'll notice this is called Lesson 4, Climate Change Project. This is the teacher view. It's usually going to look slightly different, but there's this big, long list of things that you should be doing and information for you. Up here it says the important details. This is what you're actually going to be getting into, so I would read that. And then it says here below are the details of the project explained in text. If you want to see me explain it in video, that's what you're watching right now. So this explains what each part is for in case you forget and you don't want to watch the video again. And then down here you can see there's a whole bunch of things attached. You've got 2 articles, you've got a topics and research document, you've got a climate change project packet, research packet, you've got a sample presentation, and you've got a template. There's one more document that I haven't attached yet because I'm not done making it, but that's this one right here, the climate project outline. So we're going to start by looking at this. This is kind of like where everything is going to be organized at. So this is going to tell you kind of what you need to be doing. Okay, so first you're going to put your name at the top. You fill in your class period. In order to open this or to click in here, you have to double click. It's in the header, and then you can list your topic here. So maybe you're doing CO2. Okay, so you put that in there. You can delete the extra lines if you don't like them, or you can underline your text if you want to make it look pretty, whatever works for you. So this is kind of a to-do list here for you to check off on this first page. It says here, first thing you're going to be doing is completing research summaries for each source. Well, where the heck am I going to do that, and what are my sources, right? That's probably what you're wondering. Well, this outline is going to refer to the topics and research document, which you'll see here. If you're doing carbon dioxide, you're going to use this place right here, number 1, and these are your 4 sources provided by me, okay? And then if you're going to do temperature rise, you're going to be number 2, and you're going to use these 4 sources here provided by me, right? If you're ice or your sea level or your extreme events, which would be like major weather events like hurricanes and floods and things like that, not things like earthquakes, not things like tsunamis because they're not related to weather. Then we've got ocean temperature, coral bleaching, and you notice that coral bleaching is the only one of these sources or topics that actually has a 5th link. This is just basic information because if you're like, I don't know what the heck a coral reef is, this link down here tells you what that is so that you can figure it out. You should look at that one first before you do these other ones if you don't know what coral reefs are, okay? And you're going to understand what bleaching is if you cover that topic. If you need more help, just let me know. Down here we've got snow cover. So we've got snow, which is really similar to glaciers and ice, but they're slightly different because ice is big sheets of ice and snow falls, right? So snowfall happens in lots of places all over the world, whereas glaciers only happen in some places. So those are your topics. There are 8 of them. You're going to choose one. Doesn't matter which one. Any one that you want. You're the only person doing that because you're the only person around. It's just you. So it's all on you to figure out what you like, and you can pick whichever one you like. My goal is to take some of the really exemplary projects and take your name off them and post them online to my classroom so that students can kind of look at them and we can try to like work out how all this stuff is related together. That's going to be kind of like the next task. So once I get projects turned in and stuff, we're going to start figuring out what's going on so you can tell the whole big picture, and then we can move on from there to kind of decide what should the world really be doing about climate change. So that's your topics. So it says complete research summaries for each source. So like let's say I'm looking at this source, right? I would pop this source open here. It's going to take me to the NASA website, which might take a while. I have like 1,000 tabs open on my computer, so it's running a little slow. Okay, so here's my site, right? It's going to tell me some information. You may want to figure out what the heck is ppm, because 413 ppm, that's actually quite high. In fact, it might be the highest ever recorded. It's just slightly lower than it was at the beginning of the year. So it's the 2nd highest measurement of carbon dioxide ever recorded in the atmosphere. Why do we care about that? What does that mean? That's kind of what you're going to seek to figure out. So you guys are going to actually be really trying to figure out what these graphs mean, and that's where I'm here to help. So if you need help with that, just let me know. I'm happy to do that for you. So that's what you're going to be looking at, and how you're going to summarize it is you're going to use this research packet here, right? So let's say source 1, right? That's my NASA site, right? I'm going to be typing in my research summary right here. Now, I recommend to you some ways to actually do that right here. A research summary contains complete sentences that give some quick information about what the source covers. It might be something like what the major topic is, how the source presents information in a graph and a table. So your NASA site would have had like 3 or 4 tables, it had a graph, had some good pictures as well, and then also some words that you might want to think about. So what you feel is the most important stuff that you can gather from this source. Now, you may want to look down at the presentation section of this document, which is on the next page, to get some help organizing your research summary. So let's look at that and figure out how we can do that together. So in the presentation, we're looking for visual aids, right? Because you're going to want to include those so other people can understand what the heck you're looking at. So visual aids in your presentation, can you get those from this source in the NASA source? Yes. And then here are some questions. You may want to like put some of these, even like the how do we know, the what will happen, the what can we do, right? You may want to put those in to the research summary here, and just like try and answer those questions. And if you can't, then just don't, because you'll answer it with a different source, right? So that you can kind of bring that stuff together. And there's some sub questions here, like in the how do we know, there's all these questions. How is your data collected? Where was your data collected? Who did the collecting? What does this mean? Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. It's all trying to get you to see, can you find this information so that you can know what it is, so that you can tell other people what it is. And that's what's going to go in your research summaries. And that's what goes in pages 1 and 2. You're just summarizing your sources right here. Okay, so you're summarizing source 1 here, summarizing source 2 here, summarizing source 3 here, summarizing source 4 here. That's what you're doing on the climate change research packet for this first section. Okay, so that's for this top part. So then once you've done it, you check the box. Oops, I checked all the boxes. You just checked the one box. You check the box, right click to do that. Okay, then while you're doing that, if you want to download or save any of your data or any of your graphs or any of your pictures or any animations that are included in these sources that are good or cool, you can do that. I told you 2 ways to do that. Right click and save, or you can screenshot on your device, depending on if you're using your laptop or your Chromebook or your family's computer. Screenshotting might be different for you. So if you need help with that, just ask. I think it's a good idea if you create a folder for this project in your Google Drive. So if you're in your Google Drive, you may want to create an entire new folder, right? And you may just call it Climate Change Project, right? Create that folder, and then you can store things in there. If you want to make a folder that's for pictures and a folder that's for whatever, you can do that. It's totally up to you. I just think that's a good way to organize yourself. That way you don't lose things. If you've got links, so like let's say you find a video, like a short YouTube clip that's embedded or an animation that you like, and you can get that to be like a link that you can link into stuff, you can save those links too. An easy way to save a link is just to like open a Google Doc and then just paste the link. So if I wanted to paste the link, let's say I want to paste a link to, here's the sample presentation. I'll just pull this link, boop, and then I'll just paste it right here. Okay, so boop, there it is. Then I could just click that whenever I wanted. Okay, and then you can save that document. So then it says, answer the first 2 questions on page 3 of the packet, which is how do we know and what does this mean? So let's go back to the climate change packet. That's this one. Remember you did your research summaries here, okay? What you're going to be doing down here is answering these questions. And you probably already did that up here in these summaries because I told you to include those, right? So you'll be able to easily pull information and piece it together in this section. So this is kind of like a storyboard for you. You're going to be building your answer to this question, including things like what's in your research and your graphs and your pictures and how do we know this, right? So how do we know this? We gathered this information. We know it means, or we know that it's showing this. We know that it's showing this. Here's how we measured it. So we measured carbon dioxide by doing this technique. You'll have to tell me. That's what you want to tell me. That's how we figured out this information. Then down here, what does it mean? Right? So what is it actually telling us about how carbon dioxide is changing, or how temperature is rising, or how glaciers are changing? And what does that mean for climate change? Does it support or not support the idea that the climate is changing? You'll see very clearly what's happening, right? Let's answer those questions. Then it recommends after you do that you pause in your research and instead you read these 2 articles. The articles are going to be posted on Classroom. There's one called Scientists Agree, Global Warming is Happening and Humans Are the Primary Cause, and there's one called Is Global Warming a Myth? So you're going to look at both of those articles, okay? And then you respond to the prompts on page 5. So if you go down to page 5, here's page 5 for Scientists Agree, Global Warming is Happening. You answer these prompts right here, right here. You basically just answer those questions in the space given. And then on page 6, is global warming a myth? Answer the questions here. I'm going to change that actually so that it says 5 and 6. There you go. Okay, then once you've done that, finish answering the questions on page 3 and 4. I know you're jumping around a little bit, but the reason that you're doing that is because I'm trying to have your brain do this in a way that actually is going to help you sequence this information. So once you gather kind of like a global idea from these articles, you're going to come back and try and answer the questions on 3 and 4 again. So mostly the ones on 4. What will happen in the future? So like looking at the trends in your data, what's going to happen to your particular thing? So how is carbon dioxide going to change in the future? And then what does that mean for climate change? And then what can we do? So potential solutions to the problem is what you're going to be doing in the what can we do section. You're encouraged here, if you want to go out and dig through some further research and find some other sources, some people projecting what we can do, what that might cause to happen in the future, that would be totally cool. Or if you want to come with your own ideas, it's awesome. I'm happy to see that. But if you're going to use different sources, please let me know. Okay. Then before you actually build your presentation, you may want to go through and find your main ideas on your research summaries, which is pages 1 and 2, right? So that's those guys there. Okay. I think I'm pretty good on that. So that's how you do that. The next page is going to show you how to do your presentation. Here are the things you need to include on your presentation. I've just walked you through pretty much all of it. The big thing I didn't talk to you about is how to cite your sources. Okay, how to cite your sources. I included a sample slideshow so you could see that. We're going to look at it together now. This is my slideshow about Mount Rushmore. This warning is really important. This presentation has nothing to do with our topic. You should not lay your presentation out by this way. If you title your thing, what is it, where is it, how did it form again, effects on humans, you're going to do bad. You've already done a presentation this year that was similar to this, and a lot of you straight copied this format. And you didn't give me all the information I wanted because you used what it said in this slideshow, not what it said on my rubric. Okay, so please don't make that mistake. Here's how I'm showing you how to cite sources. You'll see to cite for this page, I put a superscript. That's this guy right here. Okay, and everybody's keyboard does it a little bit differently. If you're on a Chromebook, it's pretty easy. You can look up the way to do that, or you can highlight it, and then you can make it superscript up here in the options at the top. Okay, so that's how I labeled my source. You can read more about it here. What that means is that all the information on this page came from source number 1. Well, where's source number 1? There it is on my works cited page, number 1. This is the site that I use. Now, if I want to do it differently, let's say I've got multiple sources on the same page. So like some information is going to go on this page from different sources. That's totally fine and cool. You can put the superscript at the end of each statement and then put the links down here. Or let's find a page where I did this. If you've got it coming from different information, you don't have to put the superscripts down here as long as you have a works cited page at the end. So just to save yourself the trouble, I would just make a works cited page at the end. And it's literally just going to be copying and pasting the links from right here. I wouldn't copy these words though. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you want to title each one of them so it looks a little cleaner and doesn't just look like you copied a bunch of random links, that's totally cool. Okay, so that's going to walk you through pretty much the whole thing. When you build your presentation, it's okay to use bullet points, right? It's also, in this case, okay to use complete sentences. Since you're not going to be standing up and presenting this to me, it's okay if you have complete sentences, but please keep it short. Please make your slides easy to read, and please make them inviting. If you use like bright yellow backgrounds and bright red words, people are going to be like, I can't, this hurts my brain, okay? If you want to know how you're being graded, this rubric shows you exactly what you need to put in your presentation. It's going to be right here on this document. This is for the packet. You'll see it's worth 24 points just to do the research packet. And then your presentation itself is worth 20. I blacked out some sections because we used to do this project as a group project, so some of that stuff's gone. But I wanted to keep the rubric, so I only blacked those out. So if you wanted to see them, you could, but please don't look at them. This information is what you need to put in your presentation. Okay, this rubric is also going to be eventually, once I can figure out how to put it in there, I'm going to put it in Google Classroom. I just haven't created that rubric yet. Okay, so it's coming, just not there yet. All right, so that's the whole story. If you have any questions, if you need extra help, this is going to be kind of tough because you're going to be looking at graphs, you're going to be doing things. I want you to reach out to me, okay? And during my kind of like live sessions, these next week or so, I'm going to be focusing on how you can like pull information from these graphs and stuff. So you probably want to tune into those. Remember, I'm allowed to be videoed with you from 9 to 10 a.m. So if you need help or you want help, just ask me to like maybe, hey, could you go over the graphs from carbon dioxide today? Or hey, could you look at the stuff from ice cores today? Then yeah, I will totally do that. I'll dig into that with you. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.